Hello, second graders, and welcome to another wonderful day of math. I am so excited to be continuing to work with you mathematicians. You are making wonderful gains during this virtual learning. Today we're going to be adding 1, adding 10, and adding 100. And as we are doing that, I want you to notice what is changing. Some of these questions are going to be pretty easy as we go ahead and get started here. The first question we're going to go ahead and start with is 30 plus 1. And many of you might know that answer right away. That's right, it's 31. What number in that number of 30 changed? We made the 30 and we added the 1 to the ones place. So now we have 31. That was easy. All right, let's go on to the next one, which hopefully isn't too difficult either, but we are now going to be adding 32 plus 1. And if we go ahead and we start to make a proof drawing to go along with it, we would have 10, 20, 30, 31, and 32. Now we need to add another 1. So now we have 33. And we are going to go ahead and write that in our piece up here so we remember. So the number that changed in both of those happened to be in the ones place. And again, we added a 1 to both of them. Now let's take a look at this next one as we go ahead and get started. And this one over here might be just a little bit trickier, but again, I am 100% confident that you can handle it. Our number is 39. So 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. And again, we're going to add in this case right now, we're going to add another 1. Gee, that looks a little bit different. What happened now? Now when we added a 1, when there was a 9 in the ones place, things got a little bit different. If we look back to when we added 32 plus 1, we added a 1 to the 2 ones, which equaled 3 ones. The number in the tens place did not change. But when we added 39 and 1, we added 1 to the 9 ones, which equals now 10 ones. 10 ones, so right here, 10 ones is the same as a new 10. So it was like we would have another 10 stick, which would then mean that we would actually now have 40. So in this case, when the 9 is in the ones place and we add a 1 to it, then we are going to change the tens place because we're going to the new 10, or as we sometimes like to call it, the new decade. So when we added 39 and 1, we got 40. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look down here. We have 100, remember our 100s, plus 1. That was easy. It's 101, Mrs. Hagedorn. Of course it is. Now, the tricky thing is, when I write that 101, when I'm writing that, I want to make sure I still have my 1 in the hundreds place. I had 0 tens and I had 1 1. Remember, my picture looked like this. Now, in this new picture, going on to the next one, I have 104. If I now add another 1, my new number is now going to be 105. Again, the ones place is what's being increased in both of these, or actually in all of these. When I now go on to 150, and I'm going to kind of take this one down here so we have some room. So I have my 100 110, 20, 130, 140, 150. I'm going to add my new 1, and now I have 151. And this last one here, now let me see. If I have 152 and I'm going to add 1 to it, what do you think I'm going to have? That's right, 153. All right, excellent work, excellent work. We're going to go on now to the next part where we're going to start to look at adding a 10. And as we said before, when we were looking at the ones, we were always indicating that the number in the ones place was going to increase by 1 each time. Now, when we go to start adding by 10, my friends, let's see which digit or which area and which ones place is going to start to increase. So Mrs. Hagedorn is going to get a little bit creative here with her art. So she's going to be trying to, not her art, my math work. But over here, when we're going to have 46, I would have 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and 46. And again, I'm going to be adding another 10. So what do I have now? That's right. I now have 100 and 100. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Hagedorn, you were too lost there for a second. I now have, again, looking over here, I have the 40 plus the new 10, and I still have my 6 ones, so it should be 56. All right, let's take a look at this next one right here, where we're going to look at the 60 plus 10, and we are now going to go ahead and think about, if I know that I have 60, that must mean I'm going to have my 6 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, and I'm now going to add another 10. That's right. Now I have 70. So what changed so far in both of these? Well, when the value in the tens place increases, it increases by 1 10. Here I had 4 tens, then I had 5 tens. Here I had 6 tens, now I have 7 tens. All right, let's see if we can kind of do this other one over here that just might be a little bit trickier. When we have, I'm going to make a big space down here for this one because I want to make sure we have enough room. We're going to have 96. So we're going to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, and 96. And again, this time I'm going to be adding the 10. Wait a minute. Now that I added this 10, this doesn't look like 96 anymore. Now all of a sudden, my number here can be made into a 100 because I now have 10 tens. So that would be 100, and then I still have my 6 ones, so my new number would now be 106. So again, we have to be careful when we look at 96 plus 10. What happened when you increased the 96 by 110? We added 110 to 9 tens, and of course the 6 ones. 9 tens plus 110 equals 10 tens. 10 tens is the same as 10 tens is the same as 100. So we now had 100. We didn't have any tens. Okay, so maybe another way that Mrs. Hagedorn could have written this is 100 plus now 0 tens plus the 6 ones to be 106. All right. As you're watching these, I'm wondering if you're starting to notice how these are the same and how they're maybe different than when we added the ones. Okay, 105 plus 10. Here's my 100. In 105, there is no 10, so 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. And then Mrs. Hagerman kind of likes to change the color there to say, wait, we're going to add another 10. Oh, wait, so now I have 100 plus 10 plus 5. I now have 115. Wow. How about we go on to this next one now? 115. Wow, we kind of have 115 still right here. What if we added another 10 to that? So what if Mrs. Hager added yet one more 10? Let's see what would happen. She added the one more 10. She's going to erase this silly equation down here because now she has 100 plus 2 10s, which is 20, plus 5 1s, which is now 125. So the question I asked earlier, how are these exercises the same as the exercises where you added 1, and how are they different? Well, we increase by 1 of something in both kinds of exercises. When we added by 1, we increased the number in the ones place. That's what we were doing up here. When we added by 1, we increased the number in the ones place. But when we were down here and when we added 10, we increased the number in the tens place. So when we look at this one, 115, now 125. So the number in the tens place. All right. Okay, on to our next page. And now we are going to be adding by 100, okay? And I'm sure you're ready for this as well. What is going to happen when we add 100? Well, let's take a look at this silly little one over here as our first example. This one says, I have 4. And now I'm going to add 100 to it. So now my number is going to be 100 plus 4 to equal 104. So now I'm adding 100. So I am increasing the hundreds place by 100. So now when I look at this next one where I have 118, I have 18, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And now I am going to add another 100 to it. So when I add those up, I have 100 plus a 10 plus an 8. So I now have 118. 118. So again, if I am looking, I am noticing that my number is now increasing by 1 in the hundreds place. Oops, still had my eraser on part. Sorry about that. My number is increasing by 1 in the hundreds place. So what's going to happen if I have 30 and 100? You're right, 130. I don't even need to draw that one out, Mrs. Hagedorn. Awesome. How about 100 plus 57? Well, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 56, 50, oh, sorry, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, and 57. And now I'm going to add my 100. So now I have 100 plus 50 plus 7. So my answer is now 157. And like we said before, the number that is switching in the position is that we are now adding 100. So the value of the hundreds place is the first addend to increase by 100. And our last one right here, give you a little time. Do you think you've got it? That's right. It now equals 199. Great job learning today, friends.